got it all taken care of.
This meeting of the Starkville Board of Alderman will now come to order. Please rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Alderman Vaughn would like to open us in a word of prayer, and we will observe a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most holy, our great God, our Father and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, by the way of the Holy Spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still water. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, thou comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cups runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord. Father God, again, here's your servants, the mayor and this board. Father God, again, we asking you to lead and guide us in direction in the way that you want us to go, not we ourselves, to take this city to higher heights, and to please you, not man, but give you all praise and glory. We ask you to fill this place with your spirit, that we all will conduct ourselves decent and order. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, you have before you a copy of the written agenda. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda as written?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Alderman Maynard.
I would like to amend the agenda under section E, engineering, item 1, to say request notice of public hearing at the earliest date convenient to discuss capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2014.
All right, the proposed revision from Alderman Maynard is to replace item 11E1, which was previously a request for approval of the capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2014. Alderman Maynard's revision would replace that item with a request for notice at the earliest date convenient for the 2014 capital improvement plan. And Alderman Maynard, is your revision to place that matter on consent?
It is, yes.
Is that your proposed revision?
Yes, sir, it is.
Do I hear any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, please note the change. Alderman Maynard, do you have further proposed revisions?
Yes, sir. Under item I, personnel, number 1, to adjust the salary listed there to $33,497 to match the minimum salary that was in the advertisement.
Do you want the language to match the minimum salary as in the advertisement in the motion? You just want to change the number?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the proposed revision from Alderman Maynard is to change the amount of the salary in item 11I1 from $32,500 per year to $33,497 per year. And that matter would otherwise be the same as presented and remain on consent. Alderman Maynard, is that your proposed revision?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, Alderman Maynard, do you have further proposed revisions?
No, sir.
Are there any further proposed revisions from the members of the board? Okay. Alderman Little.
Under 11A1, I'd like to have that tabled. I understand we've got some members of the dissenting vote on the airport board here, but the other side is not here to speak their arguments on behalf of it, which it did pass. But if we're going to have a discussion, I think we need to have all parties here involved.
Proposed revision from Alderman Little is to table item 11A1. Alderman Little, is that your proposed revision?
It is.
Do I hear an objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, that matter has been removed from the agenda. Alderman Little, do you have further proposed revisions?
I do not.
Are there any further proposed revisions from the members of the board? Any further proposed revisions?
Mayor, may I be recognized?
You may.
On board business, item 10D, D needs to be removed. That contract is not ready.
Parking garage contract.
Correct.
All right, do I hear a proposed revision to remove item 10D from the agenda?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, proposed revision from Alderman Perkins is to remove item 10D from the agenda, which was the discussion and consideration of prime contract for construction of the mill parking garage phase 2. Alderman Perkins, is that your proposed revision?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Do I
Mayor.
hear any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, that matter has been removed from the agenda.
One other, Mayor, on Department Business 11A2, tag that consent item with as presented at the table.
All right, do I hear a proposed revision to add the language as presented at the table to item 11A2?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, proposed revision has been made by Alderman Little to add the language as presented at the table to item 11A2, which will remain on consent. Alderman Little, is that your proposed revision?
It is.
Do I hear any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, please note the change. Mr. Attorney, do you have any further recommendations?
That is all. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Walker.
I'd like to remove item A under board business from consent.
All right, item 10A will be removed from the consent agenda. Further proposed revisions. Do I hear any further proposed revisions to the agenda? Any further proposed revisions? Any further proposed revisions? Seeing none, a motion to approve the agenda as revised is in order.
So move.
Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to approve the agenda as revised. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Measure clearly passes. You now have before you the consent agenda. Is there any objection to the approval of the consent agenda as revised? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, the consent agenda as revised has been approved. That will take us to announcements and comments by the mayor and members of the board. I have one announcement this evening, and that is the introduction of our newest city employee, Mr. Bill Jellison. It is my pleasure to welcome Bill Jellison to our Community Development Department as our new building inspector. Bill is originally from Peoga, Indiana, and is a graduate of Riley High School in South Bend, Indiana. Before joining the city of Starkville, he worked for Johnson Distributing. Bill has considerable experience in the building trade sector, including having owned his own business for over 7 years. His experience includes several years in corporate management functions, including supervision. He is familiar with duties involving compliance and regulatory requirements and working with the public. Bill and his wife Joy have 2 daughters, Sarah and Anna, and 5 grandchildren, Arden, Zach, Ian, Braden, and Brenna. During his spare time, Bill enjoys spending time with his family, particularly his grandchildren, as well as fishing and sports. Please join me in welcoming Bill. That concludes my comments this evening. Are there any comments from the members of the board? Alderman Carver.
I've got one. I've got a couple actually. One today, we did a Special Olympics torch run, and you'll see this in the paper tomorrow. But I think, you know, as a liaison spokesman for the board on this, but we promised we promised Chief Nichols anything he did that promotes, you know, any kind of community awareness or anything he does. I know he's done several things already. One is doing substations throughout the city. Another is he's doing the Facebook page. But this is just another example of some things we've seen Chief Nichols do. Mandy Wilson actually headed it up and did the route and all this, and you'll see the awareness come out tomorrow. But it was a good thing. It shows interoperability not only with the with the police force, but also the fire and, you know, a couple other individuals in town. But it was a good cause, and again, it's one of those things, I think you're seeing a police force that's stepping out there and it's being community-oriented. And so I'm gonna commend that group for that. Secondly, I guess a lot of people know about this, but also Relay for Life is this weekend. That's Friday night at the Sportsplex. I've become involved with that the last couple of years and just didn't realize, you know, the type of awareness it brings out for cancer. And if you know anybody, if you're a cancer survivor, I know we've got a couple in here. If it's a good thing. It's a great place to bring kids out and family out, any age. So anyway, that's Friday night at the Sportsplex. If you want to come out, I'd love to have you. And it's going to be community-wide. Plenty to do. So, thank you.
Alderman Nguyen.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank two of the officers from our police department. They are Officers Mandy Wilson and Officer Brandon Gann. If you looked in your newspaper on Friday, April 17th, there was this awesome photo with our two officers having lunch with the third graders. So the third graders over that Ward stood had asked them to have lunch with them one day, and they took them up on their offer and did it. So I want to say again, thanks to our officers, Miss Mandy Wilson and Mr. Brandon Gann of the Starkville Police Department. Yep, for this time.
Further announcements and comments by the members of the board? Do we have any further announcements and comments by the members of the board? Seeing none, we'll move to citizen comments. At this time, any citizen wishing to make comments may do so by coming forward, introducing yourself, and you'll be recognized to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes.
All right, good evening. My name is Adam, Turner Ward 7, to the mayor and the board. The citizens have concerns. Dr. King was shot in Memphis on behalf of sanitation workers. Two men was grinding up in the sanitation truck in Memphis. Now we in Starkville. Citizen person is doing the best they can. Having people looking over his shoulder is unfair. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Do we have any further citizen comments?
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? My name is Eric Tensley. I'm the president of the Mississippi Trotting Association. We're located all over the state of Mississippi, and what we are, we're the harness racing guys that race here in the state of Mississippi. What we represent is harness racing as far as the horse park. That's why I'm here. From what I understand, I was on the horse park has been there since 1999, and now it's been remaining dormant, and nobody's using it. But we have guys all over the state of Mississippi. Matter of fact, we have members of 214 here in the state of Mississippi. That's from the coast all the way up to North Mississippi. This particular area right here, along with a lot of my members right here, are horsemen from the heart, true horsemen from the heart. That particular horse park was built for all of us. I was on the original board way back in the day when there was Mr. Outlaw, Mr. Henry Minor. These guys put in their blood, sweat, and tears to get this place up and running. So what we're here now today to do is have a proposal to get it up and running. We have the knowledge, we have the know-how, we have the horses, we have everything to get it going. From what I understand, there's 3 entities involved. There's Mississippi State Horse Park, there's the city of Starkville, and also Oktibbeha County. I've spoken with Oktibbeha County. They felt real good about it. Now I'm here with the city of Starkville. Also, I made contact with Dr. Street, and we're in the process of hoping we can get this up and rolling. We have a proposal here. I can give each and every one of you a copy and definitely look over it.
You can approach.
Okay. Let's make sure everybody get one, please. What we have here, we have a real strong base of horse racing here in the Starkville area. Believe it or not, half of your horsemen in the state of Mississippi are in the Starkville, Louisville, Ackerman, Macon area, right around the horse park. The other half of us, I'm sorry. You got 1 minute. The other half of us are located around the Jackson area. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to get this place up and running. With your help and with your support, it only would take a day's work. Between my knowledge, Mr. Cooper, who also owns racetracks, he's also a track manager in Kentucky. If he can work on a racetrack in Lexington, Kentucky, and be the track manager there, I'm quite sure he can get this place up and running in a day's time. We walked over, we took a look at it. The track is not in that bad of condition. It does need some work, does need some maintenance, but we definitely have the knowledge to get it up and running with a very, very, very minimal. I think the cost is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500. So between the three entities, we'd like to split it.
Thank you, Mr. Tinsey.
Can I ask him a couple questions?
Yes.
Y'all race, that's the track out on the east side, right?
Yes, at the horse park, that's right.
Y'all raced for a while, didn't you?
We've raced 2 years. That was '99 and 2000, when the track was first opened. And the reason the track was closed, the United States Trotting Association closed the track because of it had a hill. You have to be able to see every square foot of the track. The hill has been removed. Now we will definitely, and it's just been laying dormant ever since that time. We'd like to get it back up and running. And because we have the horses, everything is sanctioned. We have the judges, we have the clerk of the course, we have starters, we have everything in place under the United States Trotting Association. And everybody is licensed. Everybody's licensed. The
But you're
horses, the drivers. This is not your everyday horse. This is more like this is professional. It's professionally done. These guys travel all over the United States, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky. Well, they want to race at home. And we have this facility here. There's over 350 stalls there. We can use it. And the biggest issue, I guess maybe what I think about, is the economic impact for the city of Starkville and the county, as far as we're the only state in the South
Right.
that have official harness racing. We're licensed to do so. So there's no track in Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, and Arkansas. All these guys want to come here. We race with these guys, and the weekends and the schedules that we can put this together, we can do a real good job. Yes, sir.
So you're asking for the three entities to split the 3,500 and then
Yes.
1,300, 1,300. Then you also, it says in here, once the track is repaired, weekly maintenance, who would be
Well, more like
financed?
the horse park.
The horse park
The
would be
horse park.
financed.
Since they already have the conditioner there, that thing was bought back in '99. Everything that they need is there. There's a water truck there to keep the track watered. There's a track conditioner. They spent over $10,000 there. It's just laying there. It need to be used.
Have you talked to Ms. Brickley?
I've talked with Ms. Brickley and Dr. Street, and I'm trying to see who else I need to talk to so we can get this rolling. And we can put this thing together. And I'm saying a day's time.
Your number's the 601-473 number?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please give me a call. Feel free, anybody, give me a call.
Mr. Tinsey, what was Ms. Miller's comments when you presented to her?
Ms. Miller's comment was, I need to talk to the supervisors, and once I met with the supervisors, they also asked me if I would meet with the city to inform you all on this as well. So this is why I'm here. This is definitely why I'm here.
And what is the total, what is your estimate of the total cost to get the track operational?
Total estimate was $3,500 and some change. And that's with, everything that we need to put in place as far as, and this is using county equipment. We're just there for our expertise. Mr. Cooper, like I say, is the track manager himself. He'll be the overseer for that day, to making sure everything is laid out, and it will be done to United States Trotting Association specifications.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Perkins.
Have you made any effort to meet with the other entity, Mississippi State University?
Yes, I have. I've talked with also Dr. Jackson as well. It's been a while since I talked with him. I have left messages after messages trying to contact him. Like I said, I did meet with Dr. Street on the track, and that's when we were able to take a look at it. Right after that, a week or so later, I was able to get on the agenda with the county and brought this to their attention, so we can get all this up and running. I mean, we feel like it doesn't really take that much, from what I understand. They had these engineers come over and look at it, and they charged these astronomical figures. And Mr. Cooper, who owns the racetrack himself in Terry, Mississippi, licensed racetrack, and like I said, he is a track manager in Paducah, Kentucky, Prestonburg, Kentucky, and Lexington, Kentucky. And if he can fix racetrack for them to race in Kentucky, I'm quite sure he can fix this racetrack out here. He said a day's time with all he would need to get it up and running.
One last thing, you say you left messages with an official or representative of Mississippi State. Have you got any reply back from him?
No reply.
When last time you left a message?
Well, let me say it like this, on last month, I was able to meet with Dr. Street, Ms. Miller was out, so I was able to meet with, Dr. Street, and we met out on the track and took a look at everything to see just what we needed to get done, and that was my last contact.
But the message but you have not gotten any reply.
No reply. No reply.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is there anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Tinsley.
Thank you. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity, because I definitely want this, to go over with ease. It's no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tinsley.
Thank you.
Do we have any further citizen comments?
My name is Mary Beth Nicholson. I am here representing the Starkville Mayor's Youth Council, and I just wanted to thank all of you for everything you've done for us over the year. As we're approaching us electing a new board, we just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for us this year.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Nicholson. And I heard your event was a big success this weekend.
Yes, so we were all very excited.
Do we have any further citizen comments? Any further citizen comments?
Good evening to the mayor board and to all of our citizens that are here. I would just like to say, in wake of what has happened in Louisville and what has happened in Tupelo, I would just like to thank each and every one of you for all that you've done for the process of the city of Starkville. Even though we wasn't hurt, you know, we were going through a lot with them. And I've seen a lot of you on TV taking stuff and doing stuff and going to different areas, you know, of what we do. And sometimes you don't want to toot your own horn, and I know, you know, how it is to say. But I would just like to say thank you for working down in Louisville. You know, you work down there. If you watch TV, you'll see a lot go on TV. Thank you all for that. And then again, I wondered why the sirens did not go off, but then I found my answer when it came out, you know, and that does make a lot of sense. And I would just like to say to the police department, thank you so much for what you've been visible and doing here in our city. It helps. It really helps. If we look at the rate and see how everything is going on in other cities, it really, really helps. Thank you for being part of our city, and thank you for the job that you are doing. Not saying that I won't be back to force again, but you know, just thank you for what you're doing now. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Isaac, thank you for reminding me to commend our fire and electric crews for the work that they've been doing over the past week. We have had fire crews in Louisville since the day of the storm, and we've had electric crews in Tupelo and Louisville. And many employees of the city of Starkville have been working around the clock, along with employees of our other sister cities to assist our neighbor cities in their time of need. So please, if you see personnel from the fire and electric department, thank them for what they've done. Do we have any further citizen comments? Any further citizen comments? Any further citizen comments? Seeing none, we'll move to board business. And our first matter for discussion is discussion and consideration of issuing an RFP for annexation. Discussion.
The reason, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Walker.
The reason I pulled that from consent is just to hopefully get a little bit of discussion happening regarding what this request for proposal might include, where are we going to look to advertise, and what is our hope that we're looking to get from this annexation study?
And I'll start by fielding that, and then if anybody else wants to supplement, please do. The staff would actually draft the RFP, and the annexation study would include, at minimum, studying potential territories for annexation and making recommendations as to possible annexation territories to the board. And typically, the way the process would work from there is once the board has made some decisions from a larger universe of possible annexation territories, a more in-depth study would be done on the cost of providing city services to those areas, along with the revenue that would be generated from increasing the tax base into those areas. The final step of the process, should the board wish to complete an annexation process, would be for the board to adopt an annexation ordinance which would set forth exactly which territories would be annexed and the terms for the annexation.
So in the request for proposals, are we leaving it relatively open in terms of the areas that may be potentially considered for annexation, or are those boundaries already been decided?
No, I think it's wide open. I don't think we've even gotten to the point where you all are in a position to discuss which territories you believe are ripe for annexation. And I believe that is the very first thing that an annexation study would provide you with, is I would recommend your largest possible universe for annexation to start the board discussion. And then each of you are going to have your own opinions about which of those territories should be annexed and which should not. But I would recommend tailoring the request for proposals as broadly as possible to allow for as much editorial license of vendors in drafting proposals so that you guys have the most robust options to choose from.
Last question, what is the time frame for this request for proposals, and when would we be looking at making a decision, and how much are we looking to potentially spend for this study? Do we have a budget?
I'm going to defer to the Chief Administrative Officer on a timetable. How long would you typically allow for responses to requests for proposal?
Well, Mayor, I'll answer in two parts. First to your question of how long we'll allow for the responses, I think for an initiative of this importance, and given sort of the fact that it's not just long, it's sort of everlasting, because whatever you all decide, should the board decide to go forward, whatever territory they took would become part of the city, going forward. So I would think that we would want this document on the street for not less than 6 weeks to allow the maximum possible time for potential submitters to both find out about what we're doing, but also conduct their research, build their proposal for us. And so I would say advertising time, 6 weeks at minimum, but of course I'm always open to the board's will. The other part of that is I'll need a little bit of time to write the thing, and the way that I would advise going about this, or that I would normally employ, is I reach out to some of the likely, vendors that would submit proposals, find a specification that they've each used in the past, and pull things out of it that we like to build a draft document that I would first bounce off the city attorney and the mayor, and then would like to route to the board as a whole, so that we had as much input as possible before this document hit the street. And so I think it probably takes me 3 to 4 weeks to build the document. Hopefully faster than that, but just it's a lot of moving parts.
I would estimate the cost to be $10,000 to $20,000 for the annexation study. Further discussion? Alderman Maynard.
I think this is an important step to at least begin the discussion, whether we choose to annex any property or not. I think it was in this week's paper that Tupelo is going through an annexation process And I believe the article referred to when this process started 4 years ago. They were, so this is certainly not a quick process. It's a multi-year process, but I think going forward, just from this board's perspective to do due diligence, I think we should at least look at, are there potential areas that we should consider annexing moving forward?
I'd like to make a
Alderman Vaughn.
motion, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make the motion to consider advertising for the request for the proposal to conduct the annexation study to serve as the city annexation consultant during this related action.
Alderman Vaughn has made a motion to advertise for request for proposals to conduct an annexation study to serve as the city's annexation consultant during any related action. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
That's it.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Measure clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is a report from the Budget and Audit Committee.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Since our last meeting, the Budget Committee has met twice. The first meeting was with Mr. Terry Kemp with the electric department, just to fill everybody in on the board that Mr. Kemp felt that his budget this year would be a neutral budget from last year. There would be no need for a rate increase from the city perspective, although he also pointed out that his rates from TVA are subject to change, and there could be adjustments in rates if TVA adjusts their rates. But from a city perspective, he is budget neutral this year. Our second meeting was with Mr. Tony Rook from the courts. Last year, we upgraded 3 of Mr. Rook's computers. He has a total of 7 computers. This year, he's asking if we could include funds to upgrade his other 4 computers because they are not, they will not support Windows 7, and he needs that capability. The cost to upgrade these 4 computers will be an additional $5,200. On his wish list for the future is still digitizing software to put all of their information in courts on computer. The Budget Committee does not feel we'll be able to reach that this year. The estimated cost for that software is somewhere between $35,000 and $50,000, but thinking long-term, ultimately, that's probably an area that we're going to have to look at in the future. Courts will also have 1 employee this year that may utilize the city of Starkville's educational assistantships money to take classes at Mississippi State, so we'll have to make sure we allocate resources within that budget to cover that person taking those classes. That is the last 2 that we've met with. Are there any questions?
Questions or comments on the Budget and Audit Committee report? Any discussion from the members of the board? Any discussion? Seeing none, the next matter on the agenda is a request for approval of the City of Starkville claims docket for all departments, including the Starkville Electric Department as of May 2nd. Discussion.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Little to approve of the Starkville claims docket for all departments, including the Starkville Electric Department as of May 2nd, 2014, for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2014, as presented. Alderman Little, is that your motion?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Little, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
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 By a vote of 5 in favor with 2 against, this measure passes. That exhausts the open session material on the agenda. You do have matters for your potential consideration in executive session. Do I hear a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to go into closed session to determine whether there is a need for an executive session. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Measure clearly passes. The board will now go into closed session deliberations to determine whether there is a need for an executive session. Without objection, I'm going to take us into a brief recess.